I'm sure that at this point in the COVID-19 pandemic, you're just as tired as I am of the word unprecedented. We don't need a reminder that we've lived through unprecedented or uncertain times. But what does it mean for those who've died during these times? In January of 2021, my mother died after being admitted to the hospital for gastrointestinal bleeding and COVID-19. Due to quarantine protocols, my father and I were not allowed to visit her, and her body, which was deemed a biohazard, was also kept from us. My father, who was working as a nurse at the time, also had COVID-19, and as a result, I was left alone, adrift in my grief, without any of the normal support systems that I would have had. My research examines the ways in which we are remembering those lost to COVID-19. When stripped of the rituals that make our grief bearable, what are we going to do? In what ways does the way we are remembering those lost to COVID mimic the way that we remember those lost to other mass tragedies like the World Trade Center attacks, the AIDS epidemic, or the many wars that mark the halls of history? And in what way do material objects, personal effects, become more important when there is no body to mourn? To answer these questions, I visited several different memorials across the United States in places like New Jersey, Arizona, and California. At each memorial, I fully immersed myself and I was able to observe several different themes that kept popping up. These themes included consumerism, nationalism, and historical revisionism. The memorials made by those who themselves had lost someone to the pandemic were also presented an undercurrent of compassion and utter devastation. COVID-19 is something that we are going to be contending with for years to come. Although masking, vaccines, and social distancing have allowed us to re-enter the social sphere, we are fundamentally changed by this pandemic. My observations, in combination with my own personal experiences, have given me a great deal of insight into how we are mourning as a collective. It's my hope that my research can not only help us to better understand our grief, but survive it. Thank you.
First, thank you for that powerful presentation. Other questions? Right here, right?
Was there a reason why you went to New Jersey, Arizona, and California? Was it to try to get kind of a distribution across the United States, or was there a specific reason you went to those locations?
So COVID-19 memorials are relatively rare, and the ones that did pop up in big places like Washington, D.C., there was one with a bunch of flags on the National Mall. Those were often temporary. I was really looking at permanent memorials. The one in Wall, New Jersey was actually the first COVID memorial that was permanent. And originally my plan was to also go to Kentucky because the state capital, they're planning on building a COVID memorial, but bureaucracy. And so over the course of the summer, I didn't get to go there. But there were memorials in the places that I went to. So I really sought out the permanent memorials.
And how long ago were those memorials put up? Has it been within right away when COVID-19 we started seeing it in 2020, or has it been since 2021, 2022?
More so later on. The ones that were started by people who actually lost someone the one in Wall started on the beach, and it was just one woman who made a memorial to her brother, and then other people kept adding on to it, and it got so big they had to move to a farm in Wall. So that one was going on longer, I think, than the other more official ones. Yeah.
Thank you.
Why do you think we have fewer permanent memorials than we do for other mass tragedies?
I don't think we know how to deal with it yet. I think there are folks who don't think it actually happened, and then there are folks who want to forget that it happened. So I think that we're all collectively trying to figure out how to deal with it. COVID is one of those things that just rejects any of the templates we have for previous tragedies, right? There's no single ground zero because the ground zero was everywhere. So I think that it's just that we don't quite know what to do with it.
Sure. Thank you so much. I was just wondering if you addressed how perhaps technology was transforming how the monuments were created or the practices around them. And then the second question is, were there any monuments that weren't specifically in public material space? Were there like permanent virtual monuments that you engaged with?
I'll try to be quick because I know I'm running out of time. There are virtual memorials. The vast majority of the permanent ones not permanent ones, the ones that got taken down have moved online. And then as far as technology goes, people have been adding stones through the Facebook page that the person in Wall had created. So without that Facebook page, a lot of folks wouldn't know about it. So the publicization of each memorial has been really tied into technology.
Thank you so much.